we need to make like a tea cozy, but like for the microphone. My brother doesn't think the microphone fits with my vibe of like granny chic, spooky granny chic, so, you know. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, or otherwise strange content. Today, I'm going to do something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and that's cover Phantom of the Opera. Not the movie version. I don't have the energy to do the movie version yet. I have so much I want to say about that one. But today, I did want to talk about the stage play, specifically the stage play that was professionally recorded for the 25th anniversary of Phantom of the Opera. As you may or may not know, Phantom of the Opera closed for the first time since it opened. It was like the longest running play on Broadway, but I guess it's already in the works to reopen on Broadway, so like I don't know what that's about.
I wanted to ask you about something because something got dropped off in my dressing room earlier today, and I wanted to ask you about it. It said, Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber, care of Mr. James Fallon.
My hands are shaking. I'm extremely displeased that my legend is no longer being told in New York. I am therefore currently obtaining a new address in which my legend will be examined in extreme detail.
Andrew Lloyd Webber is just out here doing an ARG to prove that the Phantom really was his self-insert character this entire time. So what better time to finally sit down and cover the whole 2.5-hour stage show? This particular stage show features my absolute favorite Phantom and Christine pairing ever. Really, everybody just kills it on this one. But in my opinion, the chemistry between the two of them is particularly off the charts in this one. This play is also very silly. Like, here's the thing. This is my mother's favorite play. Once you're a white lady with kids, it's like a requirement, I think, that you love the Phantom of the Opera. Love you, Mom. And I'm gonna say this is a pretty decent choice, right? Like, I used to think that I didn't like the Phantom of the Opera, and then I just realized that it was because all I had seen was the movie, and I don't like the movie. But when I see it on stage, I very much enjoy it, even though it is bonkers in places. We used to also have a cassette with Michael Crawford, who played, I believe he originated the Phantom. If I'm wrong, let me know politely in the comments. But he's one of the more well-known Phantoms. He was the Phantom back in the 80s, and we used to have a cassette tape that my mom would play when we were in the car. That was like that cast recording of the Phantom soundtrack. So Phantom has been a pretty big thing for as long as I can remember in my life. So without further ado, let's just get into it.
Salt.
We start off in the future, Paris 1905, which is several years after when the play actually takes place. There is an auction. They're basically auctioning off all the shit that used to belong to or in this, what used to be a grand opera. It's sort of like this existential moment to open the play on because, like, it's the future and the opera that was so, like, big and important and literally the setting of the entirety of the story is now shut down and just kind of auctioning off all of its stuff. We even have the actor playing Raoul in this very stage makeup, like old guy makeup, just like sitting angry, reflecting on the whole story. So we know Raoul at least lives through the play. I kind of wish he didn't. I mean, he's not a real person, so I would never say that about a real person. But Raoul is a fictional character whomst I don't like. Did I just use the word whomst? I think I did. Oh, Jesus. Fuck. Every time I watch this, I get scared by the goddamn monkey music box. It's terrifying. Look at this thing. The music box plays a little music box version of the song Masquerade that we'll hear at the beginning of the second act. The one thing that the movie did that I don't hate is that it kind of gave some kind of reason for this horrifying nightmare fuel of a music box to exist. But I still hate the music box.
30 once, 30 twice.
Way to really start the show off on a bang. Like, I get it, it's like emotional framework, but it's so slow, this scene.
A collector's piece.
Okay, so old Raoul has bought the music box.
Exactly as she said.
He's buying it because Christine always spoke of it, which I find strange. We'll get more into that later.
Lot 666 then.
Lot 666, which is it?
This is the very chandelier that figures in that famous disaster.
Ooh, it comes with the Throne and Ghost story. Hang on. I'm gonna blow out the speakers with this. Okay, shush, just for 1 second. If you know one thing about the Phantom of the Opera, it's probably that that chandelier is really goddamn important to them. Like, it's this giant set piece that moves and falls, and it's a big, big deal. And I saw a meme where somebody was like, the funniest thing is that if that chandelier ever did fall, I would absolutely never believe it. I'd be like, wow, look at how immersive that is. Yeah. Even if the usher's coming out, this is such an immersive experience. But it is pretty cool to see the way that they use it as a transitional piece, because it starts in the auction, hanging over the auction as it's being sold off, and then it moves, lights up, and goes to sit in the center of the concert hall to signify that we're going back in time to when the opera was alive and vibrant and making money. But for the orchestra members, they're always just back there killing it. Meme this show all you want, and I will, but that song is epic. Alright, so now we're seeing a show within the show. Is a lot. I'm saying this like you haven't seen the Phantom of the Opera. Some of you may not have. I would be willing to bet that most of you who clicked on this video are Broadway nerds like me, and therefore you know about Phantom of the Opera. But you know, if you've never seen it, that's totally cool. We don't gatekeep here. We're not gonna be like, you've never seen the Phantom of the Opera? Alright, we've got some shirtless dudes. That's cool. Upper management does not really like the prospects of this play. They're taking it out on the actors as if this doesn't just look like a horribly boring show. Sorry, maybe I'm uncultured. Here we see our first glimpse of Christine, our leading lady who begins the play as a ballerina in the ensemble, if you will. I'll have it be known, a lot of times I watch stuff back on 2x speed to cover it with you guys. I just felt like genuinely watching this just cause, so I'm just watching this in real time with you guys. So I'm soaking in for the first time in a while how long some of these dance sequences go on for. They're beautiful. They're very beautiful. And I would say necessary-ish, because getting to see this opera house in all its glory is noteworthy. However, my ADHD brain is just like, ooh, look at that. Look at the pretty colors. Ooh, look at that. What is that? A nice hat. That's a bowler hat. You remember Back to the Future, or not Back to the Future, Meet the Robinsons. You remember Meet the Robinsons with the bowler hat guy? Anyway, back to the show.
Gentlemen who now own the Opera Populaire.
All right, so we are under new management. Just like they said that thing at Disney World, the Tiki Room was, when they like put in new puppets. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? You remember that? They said it was under new management. Anyway, I really should have taken my Adderall today.
You would oblige us with a private rendition, unless of course Monsieur Ray objects.
Why did I never realize how creepy that sounded before? Carlotta, that's this lady's name. I always thought she was bad. Like, they always make her out to be like not very good, like she's kind of mid, like whatever the Victorian era of being mid would be called. But she's actually a beautiful singer in every rendition I've seen. But then, the backdrop falls, and immediately, before it's even really let the dust settle, this one ballerina is just like, shit, it's the Phantom! Which is really giving him a lot of credit, you know? That'd be like if a streamer blamed like a ghostly entity every time their tech broke down, you know? These new managers are like, everybody calm the fuck down.
These things do happen.
I know Carlotta is supposed to be seen as like a drama queen for going on strike, but like her life is regularly put in danger. I don't blame her at all. Is this a hot take?
I don't think there's much more I can do.
Why does the old manager look like Colonel Sanders?
I have a message, sir.
This is Madame Geary. She comes out of the shadows and she's like, I've got a message from the ghost that keeps trying to kill people.
You continue to leave box 5 empty.
Here we find out that the elusive Phantom of the Opera, that's the name of the show, basically is blackmailing the opera, and by extension the people who own and manage it, to keep a box open for him and to pay him a salary for not killing anybody successfully.
Christine Daae could sing it, sir.
But now that their star is gone, they're like, who's going to lead the show? And the same ballerina before that was like, shit, it's the Phantom. It's like, my best friend can sing it. And here we have Christine.
Any relation to the violinist?
My father, sir.
Her father was a famous violinist who, I guess, worked either at this opera house or in the ranks of these people. And so they give her a chance to sing it, you know, in true Nepo Baby style. Not judging her. She is a really good singer. Everybody's like fearing for their life from Madame Geary. She almost runs away out of nerves, and then Madame Geary just threatens to kick her ass. I think that's the only thing I'm supposed to infer from that interaction.
Madame, monsieur!
So, she's great, and now she's the star of the show. And now we see Raoul de-aged as a young person. I guess in the story, he was a childhood friend of Christine, and it kind of feels really evident, whether this was the point or not, that Raoul is definitely one of those guys that friend zones you until you get like this much success in your life, and then all of a sudden he comes rolling up like, hey baby, you remember me? Oh damn, did they actually have a projection to make it look like you're seeing the theater from her perspective as you're sitting in the theater? That's kind of cool. I never really thought about that.
Come. We rehearse.
Madame Geary really would have had a great career on Dance Moms, wouldn't she? And then we don't see the Phantom. We just kind of hear his creepy, disembodied voice from somewhere in the wings. Christine does not react the way that I would. She seems kind of entranced. If I was standing by myself and I heard some disembodied voice singing at me, I'd be calling the police, I'd be calling a priest, I'd be calling everybody. I'm not a Christian and I don't like the police, but I would call in every single human I knew to call. Make this interaction even creepier somehow, we find out that she actually has been conversing with this disembodied voice because he's been giving her singing lessons because her now dead father told her that there was an angel of music that would watch over her. And she's convinced that this dude in the basement is him.
I watched your face from the shadows.
And her ballerina friend is just like, okay. She's like, Bessie, I don't know what to do with this information. I always like how that little progression at the end just sounds like anxiety.
Are you a dancer? Then go and practice.
Oh yeah, and her bestie Meg is Madame Geary's daughter, so I guess she doesn't even give her own daughter a break. Raoul sends her a message to her dressing room.
Oh, Raoul, so it is you.
Christine!
Does anybody remember that Disney Robin Hood from the 70s where he's like, what am I supposed to say? Hey, remember me? We grew up together. Will you marry me? That's basically what Raoul did, because he never watched Robin Hood by Disney.
Little Lottie.
Raoul!
He basically is like, so we have a date. And she's like, nah, I'm good. And
Things have changed, Raoul.
and he's like, tap, tap, no take backs, I guess.
Ignorant soul!
And then the Phantom rolls up and is jealous. So now she's got two random dudes stimping over her, I guess.
Sharing in my triumph.
He also, like, kind of low-key insults her because he implies that the only reason he likes her is because of his music. I fully believe that he's only interested now that she's... Oh my god, I forgot about that Lion King shot. But yeah, I agree with him that he's only interested now that she's getting famous, but like, dude, you didn't have to diss her like that. This screen is always so trippy. And then it slides aside. There he is. There's our boy. Our creepy murder boy. Well, he hasn't murdered anybody that we know of at this point. We'll get there. She's gone, dude. Just got cucked by a theater nerd. I love how this is supposed to be them, like, weaving through caverns as they go down into his, like, lair underground. But because it's a stage, they just are going back and forth. He drags her to one side, and then he drags her back. They could have at least laid this out a little bit differently, couldn't they? So it actually looks like they're going somewhere. Oh yeah, take a sip every time the Phantom says something sus. And now the candelabras come out of the floor as we do a scene transition. Presumably to give them a minute to scramble backstage to get into the fake gondola. It is kind of an iconic shot. Thing that makes this work for me is just that in some castings of Christine and the Phantom, he's like clearly way, way, way older than her, and in the story that's still true, but like having it be played by two actors who at least appear to be similar in age just makes it a lot more believable, considering that, you know, undeniably a romantic interest for her. Not saying that, like, all age gap relationships are bad, but, like, when she's, like, barely 18 and he's 40, that's a little sus, to say the least. And then you realize that Andrew Lloyd Webber married the original Christine almost as if this is just self-insert fan fiction. But I'm not judging, you know? Just saying. I've never seen anybody point out this being funny to them, but it's so funny to me, the way that he just immediately goes into, like, angrily playing the organ. He's so extra. Yep. Sus. We now go into the song Music of the Night, which, all creepiness of this scene aside, it is just a very pleasant to listen to song. I think this particular scene is why I think this is my favorite Phantom. Ramin, I hope I'm saying his name right. He captures an essence that not everybody captures with the Phantom, which is that for all of his theatrics, he really is just kind of an incel that's afraid of women. I'm sorry, he is. He just is. Every time Christine gives him any kind of actual attention, he just seems so terrified of her. And it's kind of captured in this endearing kind of light when he does it. And not everybody gets that. I think it's what separates the great Phantom actors from everybody else, right? It's how you encapsulate the Phantom in this scene. If he comes off too braggy, you've missed the entire point. If he comes off like a guy who's simping and he just really wants to impress this girl, but he's really nervous, then you get it. You get him. Also, absolutely nobody but like me and my mother are going to remember this, but do you guys remember way back in like, I think it was like 2007, 2008, American Idol, whatever season David Cook was on, they did Broadway night, and he did this song, a cover of this song. I was obsessed with his cover of this song. I remember I had it on my little like pink RCA MP3 player. If anybody had one of those, it was very mid-2000s.
Let your mind start a journey through a strange new world. Leave all thoughts of the world you knew before.
And Sierra, for her part, does a great job communicating all of the feelings that Christine has without having a single line, and really doing the most with this scene. I love them together. She passes out here. One thing that I'm not sure why they did what they did in this version. Usually, she passes out when he shows her a wedding dress, and I always thought sort of like she's fainting at the idea of like a wedding proposal. But from what I can see, they don't use the wedding dress prop here. I don't know, it makes it a little bit more ambiguous. I also have always read this scene as almost an innuendo. Does that make sense? Am I crazy? Like, I've always...
The Music of the Night is actually probably the most sensual, the most sexy song I've ever written. You're supposed to be singing to the most gorgeous girl that you've ever seen in your life. I'm a gorgeous 17-year-old girl from the chorus. Yeah, all right, I'm from the chorus line, all right?
A very abstract version of them being very romantic. Do you know what I mean? Jesus, there's that damn monkey again. I also love that the Phantom is apparently just like, wake up, bitch. It's time to get going. Rise and grind, homies. And then the very quiet music box wakes her up, not the gigantically loud organ playing. She now decides that she wants to see the other half of his face, so she sneaks up on him. By the way, the fact that he would wear a mask on only half of his face, so funny. Because it's like he's ashamed of this side of his face, which is sad. Always heartbreaking. But the fact that he only wears it on this half, because he's like, this half I hate. But this half is pretty great. Like, this is Instagram ready right here. Great job, dude. Scaring her half to death. Phantom's really got that riz. So yeah, the Phantom has, like, I guess he was born with, like, a facial deformity. And, like, yeah, this guy's, like, an actual criminal, like, as a character, but this version of him has such puppy dog eyes, right? I always feel bad for him. We now see a stagehand telling the ballerinas a basically ghost story about the Phantom and how he's gonna kill everybody.
He will catch you with his magical lasso.
And then Madame Jerry comes out and is like, don't talk about the Phantom like that, because obviously they're pals. Meanwhile, the managers are in their office laughing about money.
My salary has not been paid. Who would have the gall to send this?
Wow, we were just told that the scary guy that lives in the walls wants money, and now we're getting more requests for said money. I wonder who could have sent this. Raoul comes in pissed about something to do with Christine. He can't find her. He's got a letter.
The angel of music has her under his wing.
Wait, so he gets a creepy ransom note, and the first thing he thinks is that her bosses wrote it? What the hell? The world of the opera is wild. Carlotta's mad because the Phantom has fired her. Poor Carlotta. She gets a bad reputation, but like, she's worked really hard. She's top of her game, and then just some dude in the basement is just tired of her, so she just loses her job to like a random Nepo baby ballerina. It's okay, Carlotta.
Christine Daae has returned. Her career should progress.
These super extra Mufasa shots, I like to call them, of the Phantom are just great.
Carlotta will be playing the lead.
You don't deserve her.
King shit. Against the Phantom's wishes, because Carlotta is the star, and people come specifically to see her, just like putting A-list actors in movies, the managers beg her to come back, give her back the main role, and put Christine in a silent part. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. I just found this song very, very boring. Like, they're all killing it, but just, I don't know. This song always felt like a downbeat in the story. We just went from, like, this daring kidnapping and, like, weird, toxic romance to, like, the business ins and outs of a Victorian opera house. Like, have you ever heard anybody say this was their favorite song in the show? No, you haven't. But, you know, good for you, Carlotta. Have your moment, girl. Been through a lot lately.
It is to be war between us.
Look at her, just basically flipping the bird to the murderer. She's a queen. We don't respect her enough. Oh my god, this show is not even half over yet.
We shall be sitting in box 5.
And to pour lemon juice on the wound, the managers are sitting in the Phantom's box. Damn, that's bold. These costumes remind me of, I was an extra in Goosebumps 2. Not to make a segue into like, oh, I was in Goosebumps 2. I haven't even seen it, and I doubt you can even see me. But they put me in this costume because I was supposed to be a child trick-or-treating, and they kind of just started going rogue with my makeup, and I basically had like the 1700s makeup on, but in like a heart shape, and they basically decided that I was Marie Antoinette because, you know, all the kids that are out there just dying to dress up as Marie Antoinette. So they put me in all of this, and I had this big wig, like white wig that was like felt like it was being balanced on top of my head, and then they put me in this little dress with like layers of tutus, and then went, hey, go run from the invisible monster. It was actually pretty fun.
Kiss me in my husband's absence.
Just in case you think I'm adding Christine, I'm not. I like Christine quite a lot. I also like how she still somehow is just such a show-stealing character with no words.
Did I not instruct?
Oh shit.
The Phantom of the Opera.
Well, stop giving him so much credence, Meg.
Little toad.
A toad, madam.
Carlotta calls Christine a toad, though, so when she goes to do her big solo,
Kiss me in my...
she croaks. Not like she dies, but like she literally like loses her voice and is all like croaky. I always wondered how the Phantom pulled this off. Like, did he put something in her drink? How did he know that it would happen right there? Like the guy has timing. You can't deny that.
We shall be giving you the ballet.
So they go off to change so that Christine can play the Countess, the main character, and to kind of placate the audience as if they haven't just seen some wild shit go down live. They bring out some of the ballerinas and they do this little ballet. Not even joking, I love their green ballet dresses. If I could just look like this every day of my life, I would. Well, actually, I have like 2 modes. There's days where I want to look like a woodland fairy princess, and then days where I want to look like a tired goth cat mother. You know, it's one of the two. I really do wish they would stop cutting away to the guy up in the rafters, because our attention isn't really supposed to be up there. It's supposed to be on the ballerinas. That is until the moment of... Now he's officially murderer. I told you we'd get there. Christine runs away terrified because the guy that kidnapped her and wants to marry her is literally just hanged someone. And Raoul, in all of his infinite wisdom, is trying to convince her to go back to the building where the guy wants to kidnap and potentially murder her. Oh, and also gaslight her. He's like, no, there is no Phantom. You didn't get kidnapped. Do you hear yourself? You're acting crazy right now. Like, it's really hard for me to look at Raoul like a hero figure when he's literally just trying to tell her that she's crazy. When she literally was missing for a day and he didn't even really think about it until she was on her way back. The only time he really starts to care is when he realizes that she kind of has, like, weird romantic feelings for him. And we can't have that, oh no. This has now become something that might affect him. So in her most vulnerable moment, he shoots his shot. That, like, cocky look he gives her. God, I hate Raoul. Even messes up her cute little hood thing for no reason. This man would be an Aiden Ross fan. I just feel it in my bones. To guide you. Sus. But Christine has such low standards, the poor thing. Her choices are her literal kidnapper or graduate of Hustlers University Raoul, so she goes for Raoul. You love me, right? You know it, babe. Just say it. She should have asked for a little bit more. So as they exit newly engaged, who pops up? He's just been chilling in the rafters, watching for the whole time. And he's crushed. He's a crazy person, but he's heartbroken. From his perspective, this is like when the guy you were into gives you the "we should just be friends because I've never been attracted to you that way" speech, and then announces that he has a girlfriend on Instagram. Definitely not something I've experienced. I'm not saying it's like that. I'm saying that in his weird, twisted mind, that's how he feels. I can't help but feel a little bit bad for him, right? Like, sure, he's a murderer, but also, like, he was literally treated like a freak his entire life. Like, my mom always says the Phantom of the Opera is a cautionary tale on what can happen when somebody gets treated like shit their entire life. Then excuse you being a murderer, but, you know, the whole, like, central plot point of him as a character is that, like, everybody's been awful to him, so, like, he just doesn't know better. That's not really true, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, he has a point. It showcases that people can grow very cold to others when people haven't really been warm and accepting to them. And the chandelier mini explodes, and so here we are at intermission. All right, it's intermission. Go get a drink. Get another snack, take your meds. What other, like, big sistery things can I remind you to do? When you're ready, here is the second half of the show. Here we have, I believe, the two opera house managers in their masquerade costumes, giving me Nancy Drew Phantom of Venice flashbacks. If you know, you know. Had nightmares about getting stuck in those sewers.
I feel like I am a scared child that just does not want to get lost.
Am I the only one that kind of ships them? Like, they're idiots, but, like, even idiots should get to have somebody. Masquerade is such a fun song. It's also just such a great illustration of these rich people as the Phantom sees them, which is to say, shallow and annoying. The whole show is about hiding what's really there, and in a way, each and every character in the show has that going on like a character level. Not to read too far into it, but you know, I'm a YouTube commentator, it's what I do. I'm celebrating a new chandelier, like they just like popped down and got one off of Etsy, like they didn't have to because the Phantom just destroyed the one that they had. That's another thing, the chandelier didn't fall. Usually the chandelier falls. It just kind of burned out in this one. I assume just for safety, they didn't want to literally drop it. These two are arguing about whether or not to keep their engagement secret. Super healthy relationship goals. Do you remember way back when I was still doing videos sitting on the floor in my bedroom, and I did that video on Phantom of the Megaplex from Disney Channel? There have been so many, like, offshoots of Phantom, right? Like, I feel like you guys are all gonna send me your favorite, like, knockoff Phantom, and then I'm gonna, like, want to cover all of them. And oh, look, there's the Phantom! This costume, by the way, puts everybody else's costume to shame. The mask, the hat.
Did you think I had left you for good?
The mask has a hinging jaw. Jesus Christ.
I have written you an opera.
It's also kind of giving vibes of, what's the guy's name in Coco? Spoiler alert. The famous singer that was like a sham. It's kind of giving those vibes.
There are worse things than a shattered chandelier.
Do you think he's wearing the half mask underneath the big skull mask? Because that would just be too much mask.
For me.
No, I guess he's not, because you can kind of see his mouth, I think.
I know no more than anyone else.
That's not true.
Don't ask me.
When you run away from the scene of chaos going, I swear I don't know anything, that always looks sus. Oh, hi, Perry.
There was a traveling fair.
Phantom backstory. Come on, Perry. You want to come hear the Phantom backstory?
Human oddities. Go on. And there was a man locked in a cage.
In a cage?
A prodigy, monsieur.
Well, that's fucked up.
Architect, musician,
A composer.
and an inventor too, monsieur. They boasted he had once built for the Shah of Persia a maze of mirrors. Who was this man? A freak of nature.
Jesus Christ, Madame Giry. Don't drag him like that.
Then he went missing.
So basically, the Phantom was tragically a human oddity locked in a cage by like a traveling circus.
The world forgot him. I never can.
Madame Giry went and saw him there, and that's how she knows him.
There have been too many accidents.
Accidents?
Don't say accidents like you don't know what happened. The fucking chandelier just busted last month.
Not another chandelier. Look, my friend, what we have here. We need another first bassoon. Every note's overblown at the third trombone. If you could find out which has a sense of pitch.
The Phantom really was the original Simon Cowell, wasn't he?
She's the one behind this.
They're all blaming Christine. Which, by the way, if the Phantom was made up by Christine as a way of, like, being seen by her peers, honestly, kind of a cracked reading. It doesn't hold up, but it's fun to think about.
Another note.
Oh my god, so many notes. The Phantom would love the era of texting instead of calling people. He'd be like, Christine, you up?
Don Juan must lose some weight.
Yo, don't body shame him.
No doubt her voice is good.
She has much still to learn.
I won't do it.
We have all been blind.
No, you have not all been blind. You have been blind. Raoul's like, I see. I see you weren't lying or crazy this entire time. I'm not going to apologize to you, but, you know, now that I see it with my own eyes, I can't deny it.
The curtain falls.
Now that there's somebody there to emotionally scar Christine more than Madame Giry is very motherly towards her.
Don't make me do this.
Christine's like about to have a mental breakdown. Of course, Raoul tells her to do it and risk her life. Raoul is so not baby girl.
Don't think that I don't care, but every hope.
Don't think that I don't care about you just because I'm willing to use you as human bait.
I can't.
So Christine runs away. Oh, side note, I just took a bite of candy and it was grape flavored, which is fine, but this specific grape flavor tasted exactly like the grape Benadryl I always used to have to take so that I wouldn't get car sick, and it just like unlocked a really horrid memory that I forgot I had. For like for a second, my whole body just wanted to throw up. I'm good now. If I do throw up on camera, I'm going to blame it on Raoul.
The composer is not here.
Can you be certain of that?
Madame Giry's like, be careful where you spill tea, honey, because that tea will stain. Alright, so Christine has run away to the cemetery where her father is buried.
Her father promised her that he would send her the angel of music.
Yeah, what the hell, Dad?
Promised her.
Dad got the angel of music on Wish.
Somehow here again.
This song is always so sad, but it's so pretty.
Teach me to live.
She absolutely kills this scene.
Wandering child.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Again, not all age gap relationships are automatically bad, but the fact that he calls her child and she kind of calls him fatherly does not help the situation. Like, I get it. We all want a zaddy. as much as the next, but like, just something about it this time that's off. I think it was the kidnapping part. Raoul is mad that he's getting cuffed again.
How far you dare go?
Like in the newest version, I believe especially on the West End, I've heard tale, though I haven't seen that production, that they give Christine a lot more autonomy, a lot more agency, which she deserves.
When you hear the whistle, take up your positions.
Andrew Lloyd Webber really did write a whole play with a leading lady who just gets gaslit, gatekeeped, and girl-bossed and lied to by all of the men in her life. And she deserves better. And so does Carlotta, damn it.
When the time comes, shoot.
Raoul coming in with a very American approach.
Only if you have to shoot to kill.
I like how he pretends to be nonviolent. He's like, only if you have to take the shot. But then he's like, you shoot to kill. Oh, he's just fucking with him.
Idiot!
Also, why the hell is Raoul, like, directing this whole thing? I get that he's, like, a top patron of this theater, but, like, he's just some guy that rolled in and got engaged to the up-and-coming star. And then they're all just like, let's let this himbo, derogatory, do all the planning in the citizen's arrest of this criminal. All right, so now we're putting on the Phantom's play. All of the other characters kind of think this play is shit. I don't know if that's supposed to imply that they just have no taste because they're shallow socialites. Actually, it's probably that one because, again, this is an Andrew Lloyd Webber self-insert character. Or if after all the pomp and circumstance, the Phantom is just bad at writing operas, but I don't know. And so, the Phantom switches places with the guy playing this character so that he can have a debut scene with Christine. I also love her outfit here. The little boots that go with it, all the petticoats, super cute. Sierra Burgess is just gorgeous anyway, you know. The vibes in this scene, I think, are 100% the vibes that they were going for in that one specific scene in the Jekyll and Hyde David Hasselhoff thing that I covered a while back. Again, if you know, you know. But Jekyll and Hyde did not pull it off. So at this point, Christine realizes what's going on. The Phantom really was down there in his lair writing erotica, wasn't he? Do you think the Phantom would like AO3? Would he be on Tumblr? So right when we think they've got him cornered, he starts playing the sad boy puppy dog eye thing, and Christine feels bad. He's such a conflicting character, isn't he? Like, he shouldn't be with Christine. That's a toxic relationship, but you can't help feeling bad for him. And part of it is the flair. We all love a good villain, you know? So he reveals that he knows about her engagement. She unmasks him. He loses his shit and kidnaps her. And oh no, that very obvious dummy is supposed to be the only decent guy in this whole play. Damn. Fun fact, I saw the Phantom of the Opera movie when I was like maybe 8 and was listening to the soundtrack much earlier than that. And so it's not shocking that the Phantom of the Opera is a character that's scary to young children. To this very day, when I am very, very, very stressed, anxious, whatever you want to call it, I will go like this. You've probably seen me do it. I'll still do this as like a nervous tick, and I think all I can think is that it's from this.
No kind word from anyone.
He lives across the lake, monsieur.
You know so much, Madame Jury. Why don't you help out? You can't tell me that you couldn't do better than Raoul.
In your lust for blood.
See, that's the other thing, not showing the wedding dress before. That's what she's wearing here. Which makes way less sense, and you don't fully understand how fucked up this is.
This face poisons our love.
I love how he's like, if only I didn't have this face, you'd love me. It's like, no, dude, it's your personality. You've kidnapped her twice and killed, like, a couple of people. I have no doubt that she would have married him willingly if he hadn't done all that shit.
It's in your soul, the true distortion.
Yeah, tell him, Christine. She's like, nah, it's you. It's the murder and kidnapping thing. It's not your face.
Had rather hoped that you would come.
It's like those incel red pill guys that are just like, women never go for the good guys. It's like, no, it's not that we don't like you because you're not conventionally attractive and that women are shallow. It's because, you know, you constantly demean us on the internet all of the time. That's why.
Show some compassion. The world show no compassion to me.
Even when Raoul's trying to be a hero, he's still so whiny.
Did you think I would harm her?
This actor is doing a great job, by the way. It's not the actor. The character always irks me, though. Madame Jerry told you to do just the one thing, you son of a biscuit. Would she have to write a WikiHow article for you?
Refuse me and you send your lover to his death.
So the fandom basically says to Christine, hey, if you marry me, I won't kill your fiancé. Which is pretty harsh of him. She really should have just let them both burn with the opera itself, but you know. I feel like I'm almost being too hard on the Phantom. Like, yeah, we all know he's a criminal, but like,
Please forgive me.
he is so much more sympathetic than Raoul.
Too late for prayers and useless pity.
These three need, like, a reality TV intervention. They need Mari, is what they need.
For pity's sake,
He's like, God damn, just kill me. Spare me the melodrama.
make your choice.
What kind of life have you known?
But after all this, Christine has empathy for the Phantom. Because she's a bad bitch. And she kisses him. And Raoul looks so sad. Dying slowly. That prosthetic really is great, even with the close-up shots. So because Christine has been the only person that's ever showed any sort of kindness or empathy to this man, he decides not to do a homicide. I love how we can see that they're just like light up bulb candles. So like it's like he's like trying to like light. Obviously you don't want to have an open flame on the stage. That would be dangerous, but it is funny with the close-up camera. It really gives away the illusion of like you can see him like putting it by the other candle like he's trying to light it and then pressing the button so that it'll light up. Oh, there was a little firecracker thing in there. They must have really rehearsed that so he didn't singe this poor guy.
Forget all you've seen.
So he's just like, you didn't see me here, just get out.
Swear to me never to tell.
Or what? What are you gonna do if they do?
Go now and leave me.
Same, dude. So the frightening little monkey music box, the monkey box, if you will, it belonged to the Phantom, so I guess that's why she remembers it. So Raoul bid to own the thing that belonged to the guy that she kissed before she kissed him. Strange play. Oh, she's back. Well, she gives him his ring back. Oh, no matter how much snark I give this scene, it always makes me cry. Way to really twist the knife, Christine. Get the fuck out of here, Raoul. He just sits down and covers himself up like little emo boy that he is. Oh, and he's gone. And Meg holds up the mask to camera, and that's the end. Oh, Perry. It took all of my training not to ugly cry. You proud of me? She's a cat. She only feels pride for herself. So while everyone takes a bow, our play is over for the night. This is known as arguably Andrew Lloyd Webber's best and most successful play. There might be some metrics you can fight me on in the comments, but, you know, this one's pretty successful. It's definitely the Andrew Lloyd Webber play that I enjoy far more than the other ones. Looking right at you, cats. And don't come at me with the whole, oh, you can't judge it by the 2019 movie. I'm not. Even on the stage, it terrifies me. That's the end of the story with the Phantom of the Opera. Well,
And I caught you,
I kissed you.
and I took you
I got you.
with a
there may or may not be a highly hated, very campy sequel. Consequences be damned. And if you think I'm not about to cover that one next, you're wrong. You're very wrong. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you all next time. So does Perry. Perry says, just let me down. I have important cat things to do. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing. Everything you do to support this channel means the world to me. Thank you, by the way. We have surpassed 7,100 subscribers, you know, right in time for the 3-year anniversary of me doing this whole thing on this channel. And we've come such a long way. So thank you very, very much for supporting me, supporting small creators everywhere. Really, it truly means a lot. And I'm very glad to do what I do here and look forward to doing it more in the future. So, yeah. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around because I post nonsense all the time. And remember, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTube review say so because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. Bye!